started the day my best friend Emily shattered the fragile trust I had in her, revealing secrets I'd buried deep, secrets about my family's darkest struggles. The words hit me like a punch to the gut, exposing the vulnerability I had guarded for years. The humiliation was suffocating. I felt raw, exposed, like I'd been stripped of my dignity in front of everyone I knew. The whispers, the pointed looks, the way Emily's eyes glinted with betrayal, I knew I could never look at her the same way again. But worse than the betrayal was the way it spiraled out of control. Rumors fluttered through the community like wildfire. My family's flaws were magnified, twisted, used as ammunition. I was branded a disgrace, a failure, an embarrassment to everyone who once believed in me. The shame took root deep inside, a bitter seed that grew with every passing day. In the aftermath, I made a choice. I could let their judgments define me, or I could rise from the ashes. I left my job, cut ties, and poured myself into understanding what truly made a team work. I devoured books, sought mentors, transformed pain into purpose. I refused to be a victim. I decided to turn their mockery into a weapon, an instrument of growth. Years passed. I returned to the workplace, but not as the broken girl they once mocked. I had reinvented myself, stronger, wiser, more resilient. I learned to see the cracks in the facade of dysfunction and to forge bonds where others saw chaos. I found my voice as a mediator, a builder of resilience. I used their derision as fuel, crafting a presentation about team dynamics, vulnerability, and trust, turning their teasing into a testament of overcoming adversity. The day came when I stood before them. The same colleagues who once called me the resident therapist, who mocked my family behind closed doors. I looked into their eyes, not with anger, but with quiet confidence. I shared my story about betrayal, humiliation, and the painful journey of healing. I revealed my transformation, how I had taken their jokes and turned them into lessons for us all. I showed how vulnerability, when harnessed, becomes strength. How resilience is born from the deepest wounds. Their silence was deafening. Some looked away, uncomfortable with the truth. Others nodded, finally understanding that I was no longer an outsider, but a leader, someone who had turned personal pain into collective growth. I watched as the weight of their judgments lifted, replaced by respect, a recognition of my journey and my strength. That moment was my poetic justice. I had been cast aside, humiliated, betrayed. Yet I returned not just victorious, but unbreakable. I had become the embodiment of resilience, proof that even in our darkest moments, we can forge light. They had doubted me, but I had transformed their doubt into an unstoppable force. I was no longer the girl they mocked. I was the woman they relied on. And in that quiet, powerful moment of confrontation, I realized my greatest triumph wasn't just proving them wrong. It was finally seeing myself as someone who could survive anything, someone who could turn betrayal into a beacon of hope. That was my revenge. Not revenge in anger, but in the undeniable truth that I